Thank you, Jess. Joined by a guy who does pack everything for a weekend away in Pukekohe, Andy Jones. Spare shoes, spare clothes, lots of hair gel, a few pairs of sunnies, some jackets, ready to go for the last race before the big race today, Andy.
Yeah, I'll probably pack very similar to Russell. Plenty of hair gel going on there also. Great little insight there from Russ. Did a ripper job. Showed us through those flight containers. The team's doing an amazing job to pack in what they need to for this weekend.
Amazing to see car 12 up and about, ready to go. Shades of last year at the Gold Coast. Big crash on the Saturday and an all-night job to get it ready for Sunday. Looking forward to race 24 later, but this is the final race of the BNT V8s, and it's a reverse grid race, and then some, reverse plus handicap, so it's going to send the man who's won the 2 races so far this weekend, Jason Bargwanna, aforementioned Jason Bargwanna, who's just helped out car 12. He's going to start from 20th, and there'll be a fair old gap between these 2 packs as well, I'm told, at the start of the race. We'll have the young Liam McDonald on the front row, just 20 years of age from Invercargill. He'll start along someone who's even younger, Chelsea Herbert, just 18 years of age, local girl from Auckland. Behind them, Rob Wallace and Nick Farrier, Justin Ashwell and Brock Timpley in the ex-Brock Cooley car outside row number 3. Matt Podjerski, he was the guy who didn't quite make it to the finish line in that last race. Nigel Carl in our 3rd class of racing. Then we go back to our Class 1 cars. Lathrop, Ross with those issues early with the throttle. Watch out for Jack Smith out of P17. He'll be very fast in this one. Andre Heimgartner one to watch out for, and Jason Bargwanna. There is going to be some serious passing in this race. And the BMWs will be off the back in our invitational class. Don't know what it is with New Zealand racing, but we do get quite a few handicap reverse grid starts. They do like mixing it up over here.
Yeah, absolutely they do, mate. We spoke at the start of the GTR-NZ race earlier today as part of our coverage, and said we hadn't actually ever, either of us, experienced a handicap motorsport event, and here we are a couple of hours later. We're about to run through our 2nd one. So interesting concept that they obviously roll out a lot more regularly over here in New Zealand. So we are going to see that staggered or handicap start here amongst this category.
And it's a decent 30-second wait as well. So, youth on the front row. Liam McDonald, last year's Class 2 champion. And the up-and-coming star of Chelsea Herbert, who was rolling away on the start. Gee, it's an awkward one in the background as well, with Podjerski slow to get going. And how about the grip on the grass, or lack thereof, for McCarrison? He was actually slow to get away off the practice start as well earlier.
Yeah, he was the guy that earlier in the day we saw that tail shaft depart ways with that Falcon. I thought he was going to depart ways with the grass there for a second. It was a bit awkward when he landed back on the circuit. So we'll keep an eye on what happens there with Chelsea Herbert. She either got
Oh, you could see it coming. Lathrop stalling on the front row of the 2nd group of cars. Wasn't the only one.
And unfortunately for Lance Hughes, he did not see Lathrop sitting there going nowhere, and has absolutely drilled the back of that Falcon. Safety cars for sure, Chad.
Well, hopefully our first group of cars who left the grid catch wind of the Vodafone safety car, because these cars are stranded at a very fast part of the track, and that was a shocking way to start this race off. Never like seeing stalled cars. Window net down for Lance Hughes, so that's good news.
We've seen it time and time again, haven't we, where we see a stalled car on the grid like that, and both of us just held our breath, hoping that everybody could see it. Mate, I tell you what, I've experienced this before. When you're the person sitting in the car and you've stalled, it's the worst feeling in the world. But you know, when you're a couple of rows back, that's the danger area. It's the guys that are directly behind the stalled car that have a clear view of sight. But unfortunately for Lance, because he was 2 or 3 cars back, as everybody, or the seas parted, so to speak, or Jack Smith moved away, Lance didn't have enough time to react. You could see there that he was hard on the brake pedal, and sometimes that causes this issue. So you see Jack darted to the right-hand side of the grid there. Lance, at the last minute, jumped on the brake pedal, but locked the tyre and just slid into the back of Lathrop. He also had nowhere to go to the left there because Bargs was in the way. So a couple of elements that have added to the cars making contact. We do see it a bit. We hate seeing it, unfortunately, but both guys look okay. Medical staff on hand to just check them over.
What a shame for the 52-year-old who's having such a good weekend in the Hamilton Asphalt's Commodore, 5th in last year's championship, out of the race. hefty impact considering it was only 2 rows back. But it shows you how quickly these cars accelerate.
Well, not only how quickly they accelerate, but also the closing rate, or even at 10, 15 kilometres an hour, when you've got a 1,500 kilo approximately brick basically sitting on the road going nowhere, and you've got a car following them that has, you know, a small amount of momentum. It doesn't even need to be a lot. You can see how much damage is done there. One mass moving, one mass sitting still generally doesn't end that well when they make contact.
How far apart would you say one row on a grid is here? It would be, what do you think, maybe 20 metres between rows?
Yeah, looking outside the window at the comms box, it'd be 20 metres. So, you know, for me, 0 to 100 in these cars takes roughly 3.5, 4 seconds. Maybe a good start might be 3.8 and a bad start might be 4.5 seconds. So let's say somebody that's come across the ditch has got their Akubra on hand, has lost it in the wind today. Good pick up by our camera crew. So just back to my point there, you know, in the 20 metres that the car has taken off, and then, you know, a little bit of time for Lance to jump on the brakes, I'd estimate that he would have been travelling at, you know, no more than 50 odd kilometres an hour when they made contact, which is not a lot. As I mentioned, these cars are big, hefty, one's moving, one's not. A lot of damage.
Not the way we wanted to start this race. Unfortunately, we are behind the safety car at the moment.
Just quickly grab Lance Hughes out of the car, mate. Tough situation. There's not much you can do on the start line, is there?
No, not really. We had a really good start, and I had Barks right beside me, and I sort of had him in the corner of the eye, and I thought, yeah, we're side by side, and we're starting to go through the other cars in front of me, including Jack. We're right up beside him. And next thing, it just all opened. Uh-oh, bloody car there.
Now, the medical officials are behind me at the moment. How are you feeling?
No, I'm all good, mate. These Hans and safety improvements on those cars just phenomenal, eh? So it was just a little love tap, basically.
All right, thanks. You go and get yourself checked out. Well, just quickly, we're going to jump in here. I'll stay out of the way of Brad Lathrop, who's just having a look in here with the officials. And we'll have a quick chat to him, because I heard Andrew Jones say just before, one of those daunting feelings is sitting there on a car that stalls on the grid. Good to see you're okay at the moment, though.
Yeah, no, I'm all right. It's a bit of a weekend I'd kind of like to forget as my rookie weekend in the class with the Class 1 car, but, you know, it's part of racing. You know, obviously really gutted that, unfortunately, Lance got caught up in that as well. First standing start in the car, and I rookied it. You know, there's a bit of work for the boys and I to do before next round, but it is what it is. It's part of motorsport. A massive thank you to all of my sponsors for being able to give me the opportunity to get out in the new car, and just really sorry that we couldn't get the results we were after this weekend, but hey, we'll regather, move on, and it's only going to get better.
Just very quickly, though, it must have been a very daunting experience when the car went nowhere and you knew people were coming behind you.
Yeah, I freaked a little bit. It's been a while since I've stalled a car on the grid. Tried to find the restart button and put my foot on the clutch, but just, yeah, if you get the cars going, you know, I think Lance was a few grid spots back, and it doesn't take long to get the cars up to speed. So, you know, it's damage for myself and Lance that wasn't needed, but it is what it is. You know, I'll learn from this, move on, and just keep my head up.
Thanks, Brad. Good to see you okay.
Thank you.
Nice work, Cameron, on the spot down there with our 2 drivers. The 27-year-old who now lives in Auckland, whack, copping a shot from behind. And part of the NZ Elite Motorsport Academy that we saw on his race suit. That's run out of Otago University. Nowhere to go. The asphalt entry. Good thing that BMW at the back also stalled it, actually. Might have joined the party. Whack.
It was interesting to listen to Lance talk there, that he knew Bargs was off to his left-hand side, and that wasn't an escape route for him, but looked like he was also had a little bit of steering lock on towards the left-hand side. So when he did jump on the brake pedal, front tyres locked up and took away all steering ability. Just taking a moment here, clean-up crews do a massive job and a terrific job throughout the weekend at all these supercars events. But safety is always the priority, and they're just trying to get the cars moved off the start-finish line. So we will stay under safety car for a couple more laps while they get all this mess cleaned up.
This poor bloke who's lost his hat and the umbrella going inside out as well. Gee, the wind has all of a sudden really picked up. I didn't notice it that much when I was out there only 30 minutes ago. And the official's gone out to get the hat as well. What a team player. So whoever's lost, he's best on ground down there. That is awesome.
And doesn't he know it? Doesn't he know it?
That is fantastic. So the wind picking up, Cam.
Well picked up, Chad. I can tell you down here, it's clouding over at the moment. Very high UV earlier, clouding over. The wind is picking up, and I'm just keeping an eye on that air pressure. It seems to be dropping, which has the teams a little bit nervous and looking at their radars.
It's the R word this weekend. We had way too much of it yesterday. Thankfully, the race managed to be completed in relatively dry conditions. We didn't see wet tyres, amazingly, in yesterday's race. Clouds lurking. It's been a really good day, though, at the track. Big crowd up on the hill. Lots of people sitting under the trees, enjoying a couple of cold drinks. And look at this crowd here. Umbrellas, thankfully, for the sunshine today. And they are packing the joint for race 24. Vocal crowd yesterday to watch Shane Van Gisbergen win. There's the big grandstand down towards the first corner. Fantastic spot to watch motorsport. I ducked off and watched some of those magic Formula 5000s rip through there. The sound just reverberates inside that grandstand. There they are, waving at the screen as the world turns their attention to Pukekohe Park Raceway. And that crash on the grid happening right in front of the packed ITM hill.
You were absolutely loving it up there when you went up this morning, weren't you? You came back so excited. You said it was awesome to sit up there and just watch the cars blast past you. I did it a couple of years ago, watched some V8 racing, or the supercars racing from up on that hill, and you know what? You feel like you're right amongst the action. It's this sort of amphitheatre feel, and you're up above the cars, and they come around that really fast second last and last corner section. It feels terrific, and it's no wonder that hill has been full all weekend.
And you're so close to the action up on that hill, you can smell it. And I was thinking to myself this morning when I was watching the Central Muscle Cars, I was right up there, and I was thinking, what other sports are there where you can smell the action? Motorsport is so special like that. It really ignites all the senses. So very, very cool. Doesn't matter what categories out there, enjoying the action. And if you're watching maybe in Australia and thought, maybe that's not a bad race to go to, it is an excellent race to attend. Auckland is a fantastic city to hang out in. Lots of great places to go out, grab something to eat, and enjoy the harbour. And about 45 minutes away is this magic place. Historic racetrack. And a very fast one at that. Great visibility. It's kind of like Sandown, but going the other way around, this place.
Yeah, lots of very similarities between the two circuits. We have the race course in the centre there that you can see on our footage there. So a lot of fast sections as well. A lot of similarities between over the top of the hill at Sandown and then coming through this very fast turn one and final section of the circuit. You'd almost swear that the same person designed them back in the day, wouldn't you? Both rough, both got a lot of patches going on, a lot of resurfacing this weekend. So even the characteristics of driving around and the way the cars behave are very similar.
Well, that's just like turn 2, 3, and 4 at Sandown, but going the other way around the horse racing track and down the back straight. So two historic circuits, both very, very fast. And we're under the safety car at the moment. How cool are the old flames out of Liam McDonald's car? Breathing heavily. Cool. Bit of old school supercar action there.
Massive flame out. We love it. Fuel burn, particularly under safety car like this, when the driver hops off the throttle, there's a bit of overrun that goes through the engine that doesn't burn and comes out the exhaust, and as it hits the muffler tips there, as we can see, it just produces this terrific flame. Photographers love it. Absolutely love it.
So do the fans. So good news here. Safety car is meant to be heading in this lap. Lights not out just yet. Now, yes, lights out, we're ready. And it's the 18-year-old who will lead us back to green flag conditions. Chelsea Herbert from Auckland.
So we had that situation before where there was a staggered start. Now that has all been cleaned up. So we've now got this other situation where we have the slower cars leading the pack and the faster cars at the back. What's going to happen, mate? All hell going to break loose here.
We'll see plenty of passing. That's certainly what I'm hoping for here as Chelsea Herbert brings us back around. Soon to be competing at the Dubai 24 Hour, which would be pretty cool. And a Pro Drive GT4 Aston Martin.
Good
Look
restart.
At the battle here.
Good restart from Chelsea Herbert. She got a terrific jump. Leads the pack. She's got herself a little bit of breathing space. But this is where it's busy, isn't it? Really busy through turn 2. These guys trying to get the job done as quickly as they can. Bargs having a big look up the inside at turn 4, but decided against it.
On board with Nick Ross. Those throttle issues clearly not hampering him right now. He's tucked in behind. Close quarters action on approach to turn 5 up the inside of Heimgartner. No, not quite there, but they will take Bronson Porter, I believe that is, as they move on through. The rookie's off again, the 777. Unfortunately, not having a great day. Matty Podjerski should be able to rejoin the battle down there at the exit of the runoff. So, great restart, this one for Chelsea Herbert. So they go picking through the Class 2 cars. Lots of action on this restart.
Nick Ross, he'll be fired up after the incident, after the issue that he had with his throttle sensor in the earlier race today. We saw when he fired it up that he had the eyes on, and he was absolutely driving the wheels off that Nissan. He certainly is here.
Oh, someone's had a big blow up on the front straight. I just saw smoke out the window, and Timperley, meanwhile, is having his own problems. Here it is. This car's in the wars today, Andy. Oh no, it's spinning on its own oil. McCarrison goes around. Now, has that put oil down in turn 1?
I would have to assume absolutely yes, because that was a huge plume of smoke that came out as he went past our commentary box window, and then the oil's just arrived on the tyres as he's turned in for turn 2, and he's looped it.
The front straight, we can see it from our commentary box window, still completely covered, and safety car has been deployed again. Smoke everywhere at Pukekohe Park from McCarrison.
And that's a very sad sounding engine in that Falcon. McCarrison, he hasn't had a good day, has he? Lost the tail shaft in that car in today's earlier race. Safety car out. We can see the red and yellow flag being waved there to let all the competitors know that there is a huge trail of oil on the run through turn 1.
Oh, that was the wild moment for the 777. Scared a few of the birds out there, as well as our flaggies. Caught them by surprise when it came flying by. And this was the big blow up. Timperley running wide, going off and through the grass. Got that back up nicely, and then top of frame. We eventually got back to the old Smoky coming through. That's a big, big blow up, enough to warrant a safety car.
So I was surprised that the run through turn 1 there hadn't sprayed that oil all over the rear tyres.
Already?
Yeah, already, absolutely. With the amount of smoke that was coming out of the back of the car, I thought he would have already been very grip limited. It wasn't until he got to turn 2 that the rear just snapped around on him.
Wow.
Look at that smoke screen. That's reminiscent of SVG's burnouts at the end of his race yesterday. Trying to replicate that.
Watch the official's right of frame here. Apparently Matt Podjerski's lost his brakes, which has caused this moment. Just watch the official here. Watch out, there's a car coming your way. Whoa. Goodness. Didn't expect that one. And then
who moved faster than the birds on the ground or the officials that were standing off to the side of the fence? Chad, I'm going to take this opportunity. Those officials at all the events that we go to do an absolutely stellar job. To be out there all day, we cannot go racing without them. And there is that danger element. So a quick shout out to all these guys. Without them, our sport does not happen.
Holding the safety car board now. Hopefully calm down again. Had the phone in the hand, probably getting all kinds of grief from all his mates right now. And the cleanup begins out at turn 1. That is a big oil down.
And how's the commitment? Straight back to his post, having a little debrief there with the other officials that are at that corner.
Well, the other news here, if we don't get this cleaned up properly, that'll be essentially turn 1, lap 1 for the supercars. Let's go back to the pits.
There is action going on everywhere because Matt Podjerski, we saw him have a big moment out there. Matt, tell us what happened.
Just going down the back straight, minding my own business as the Class 1 cars went past, and yeah, foot went straight to the floor, so not the best way to have a debut, but hey, at least we all came in one piece and the car's all right, so we'll have to fight another day.
So if I get that right for our Australian viewers, your pedal went straight to the floor on the brakes. You lost all brakes.
I lost all brakes, so yeah, you're a bit of a battle trying to stop it, but yeah, managed to keep it off the fence, so that was the main thing.
Mate, I'd go and buy a Tats ticket at the moment because your luck, good luck. You may need a new seat too.
Yeah, no, definitely need a new seat on this one.
Thanks, mate.
All good, thank you, boys.
Thanks for the translation down there, Cam. Nice work.
least he can laugh about it.
Yeah.
He's had a shocking day, but he's still got a big smile on his face.
If you can have the brakes fail, it's probably the best spot to have it happen there with all that runoff at the end of turn 5. This cleanup's going to go all the way back to turn 11 at this rate.
We might need to get a couple more buckets down to those guys because they're running a bit light on with that kitty litter to mop up the oil that's been dumped.
I think the crowd are jeering them on down there. They're doing a great effort out there, our officials this weekend. There's Paul McHarrison. It hasn't been his weekend. So will we get some more green flag laps in here? Wouldn't want to be arriving down here in a great rate of knots. We've also got timing showing us Andre Heimgartner in the lead, so did get to the lead just before the safety car boards and lights, at least according to timing. He was charging through the pack.
Yeah, we saw that move that Nick Ross tried to put on Andre in the braking area at turn 5. Couldn't complete the job, and this could determine the race here. Still a few laps left to go once the safety car does depart the circuit, but we will be time certain.
Well, it looks like they're pretty happy with it down there at the moment at turn 1, so they're going to clear out. Here we go, super slow-mo of the officials hard at work. It's a 7-10 split, Andy. Nice work.
I think we should get that guy on a bowling green. See if he can get close to the jack. He's got good style. So one thing when you're inside the car and you're leading this field like Andre is, he'll be hoping that the safety car does an extra couple of laps so they can run across that kitty litter that's mopping up the oil and just disperse a bit of the oil off the road. The last thing you want to do is arrive for the first time at a corner that's that fast and run straight across the top and not have an understanding of just how much grip is out there on the road. So this is a good opportunity. Obviously, some guys are choosing to not drive across it, but we could see people like Andre and Nick Ross, who are highly experienced, getting out amongst it and trying to clean it up a bit.
So time certain finish here will be 23 past the hour. It's 20 past the hour here, and we've got red lights and red flags. So another change here, potentially, and I wonder if it's because the safety car has run down there and gone, no, this is unraceable maybe. They want to get this cleaned up properly in time for race 24. That's a hefty old cleanup down there.
Safety is always at the forefront of this sport. Last thing we need to do is put all those guys out there into a situation where a big accident happens. So I'm sure there's a very good reason for this red flag. Does that hand the win to Andre Heimgartner, and how pivotal was that move where he was able to keep Nick Ross behind him?
Yeah, that must have been just before the safety car came out, where they both got through on Chelsea Herbert. They've timed it well, probably down the back straight. So red flag has brought a stop to this race. Now, will they come into the pits or will they go back to the grid here? Andre Heimgartner at the front. Pretty much missed out on race 1 when it was wet conditions. Had severe fogging issues in that car and it was undrivable.
Yeah, he basically had a whiteout going on, didn't he, Chad? You know, we saw images of it yesterday morning when the rain was at its heaviest. These guys were pretty much out on the circuit, and it was because of the conditions that these guys were met with that the decision was made to cancel supercars qualifying, because, you know, they had a chat with guys like Andre and Bargs, and they looked at how these cars were handling the conditions, and the fogging particularly, which we saw at Bathurst, would have been exactly the same for the supercars guys. So everybody should roll around here, come to a slow stop.
Just want a checkered flag. We'll get, yeah,
There,
I was
the
thinking they
checkered
might
flag
wave the
has
checkered
come
flag
out.
here. So Heimgartner will get the race win. Amazing piece of kit, those Toyota Camrys up close, filling in for Sam Barry in this Richards Team Motorsport entry. Let's just check this out once again. So there goes Heimgartner through.
On Herbert, and that was for the lead.
That was the race-winning move. Ross going through. No safety car flags or boards yet that I can see. And there it is there. So comfortably through with a good 10 seconds to spare. Heimgartner getting the job done nicely. And that was the race-winning move for Andre Heimgartner in car 71. So making a return to this series, continuing in his good form off the back of a podium at the Gold Coast 600. Andre Heimgartner getting the win here. Unfortunately not going the distance. Nick Ross, P2, good drive through the pack. Chelsea Herbert doing well to be inside the top 3 spots as well. Back through the pack. Had a number of mechanical dramas, Podjerski included. Nasty start of the race between Brad Lathrop and Lance Hughes. Unfortunately for them, they barely even got off the start line. McCarrison's car pulled away and back behind the fence at the moment. And these guys, after their opening round, will continue the charge. Next round will be at Taupo. Finishes up at round 6 at Hampton Downs. 10th year that BNT, which is a replacement and aftermarket spare parts company, has been sponsoring this category.
Not only this category, but motorsport in general over here in New Zealand for a long, long time. So
check out Len McDonald here.
Little expression session happening.